I'm going to have a lot less technology. So just words as a good State Department employee. First of all, I want to thank Stormy for that wonderful introduction. Stormy is one of the premier transatlanticists in Berlin and certainly one of the most far-seeing, a friend of the embassy for many years. And in fact, I think it was probably Stormy that was behind this conference. It certainly has the flavor of Stormy. Transatlantic, trade, technology, looking ahead. So thank you very much for doing this, and thanks for having me. Yeah, a hand for Stormy. The fact is, this conference really couldn't have come at a better time, in my opinion. We live in a new era. It's clear from reading the headlines. Anytime you pick up the paper, you're hit with truly a Zeitenwende, to quote your wonderful chancellor, defined by serious and wide-ranging challenges of a truly global nature. Democracies are under intense pressure from a range of threats: internal divisions, economic uncertainty, technology changes, and external actors. Just as during the Cold War and the post-Cold War era, today a strong United States and a strong Europe fuel democratic values abroad. We are the avatars of the West in terms of these values. And then as now, it is important that as transatlantic partners, we find a way forward in the face of these challenges to democracy. This includes harnessing the tools of technological advances that they offer to bolster democracy. We all know our competitors are using increasingly sophisticated means to illicitly acquire sensitive technologies, information, and know-how. We have to adapt accordingly in order to ensure that emerging technologies work for and not against our democratic values and security. A modern industrial and innovation strategy must take into account the basic fact that technological security is economic security. This is a fundamental element of the Biden administration's vision on how to protect and support our democracies. Accordingly, at home, we have made some historic investments in the industries of the future, investments that will strengthen the resilience and security of both domestic and global supply chains. And abroad, we've deepened our alliances and partnerships. We're working very closely with Germany, the European Union more broadly, and other partners to shape the economic rules of the road to benefit our economies, societies, and democracies. In his meeting with Vice Chancellor Habeck last week in Washington, Secretary of State Blinken emphasized that the extraordinarily close partnership and collaboration between Germany and the United States in addressing the challenges that we face. In this new era, advancements in science and technology will define the geopolitical landscape of the 21st century. We'll see leap-ahead breakthroughs in new industries that drive our prosperity and shape the values and fabric of our societies. What will not change, however, is the basic premise that international cooperation based on basic principles of democracy, human rights, and the rule of law is the best strategy to produce growth and security both at home and abroad. The question is, how do we take these general principles and apply them to urgent specific problems, for instance, in the economic space? In terms of transatlantic cooperation, the US-EU Trade and Technology Council, or the TTC, is the essential platform for advancing transatlantic cooperation and democratic approaches to trade, technology, and security. As a forum for shaping the rules, norms, and standards on trade and technology, the TTC plays a critical role in the global economy. It is the premier framework for working with partners and allies. And now is the time to raise our ambition for the TTC, to define a future based on common values and a common vision for greater transatlantic cooperation. Through the TTC, we are countering non-market policies and practices that undermine our businesses and workers in the global trading system. Russia's unprovoked invasion of Ukraine and its weaponization of energy, the strains on supply chains in the wake of COVID, and the increasingly coercive policies of the People's Republic of China have underscored the importance of working together to pursue policies that reflect our shared values, the values that drive competitiveness and prosperity. The TTC is moving the ball forward in numerous areas to strengthen our trade and technology partnership. Through it, we have launched a pilot exchange on how to simplify transatlantic trade with regard to exports and re-exports of dual-use items and sensitive technologies while ensuring appropriate protection against misuse. You'll see, by the way, I'm getting into some details on the TTC because it's important for you all to know that it is not just a moniker. It is something that is aiming to address specific issues that we are facing right now in a way that is effective and useful. We have one of my colleagues from our Economic and Business Bureau, Tony Fernandez, who is going to speak to us about this issue in greater detail and about the issue of friendshoring. We're very, very lucky that he made time to come, and just let me thank you for being here today, Tony. We also launched a new transatlantic initiative on sustainable trade to identify actions in key areas of trade and environmental sustainability that support our shared goals of a green and sustainable future, and to increase transatlantic trade and investment. At its recent meeting in December, the TTC previewed a roadmap for developing and implementing trustworthy artificial intelligence. Progress was also made on initiatives to foster more transparency and efficiency in government incentive programs on semiconductors and electric vehicle charging systems. For its next meetings, the TTC is developing tools for further cooperation regarding new and emerging technologies. It plans to roll out strategic standards information mechanisms to share information about international standardization activities. And while that may be to the general public a not particularly interesting issue to discuss for us, for those who are working on these issues, that goes to the core of how we are working together in our societies to build a path together for the use of these technologies in a way that promotes prosperity and safety. It plans to roll out this mechanism to share information about international standards activities, also to make certain that the public is informed, and to build more resilient semiconductor supply chains. An initiative to institutionalize an early warning system to address and mitigate supply chains disruptions is also being developed. We will build on efforts to address attacks against human rights defenders online by advancing the principles of the Declaration for the Future of the Internet. That means protecting universal human rights and fundamental freedoms. And it means ensuring inclusive and affordable internet access to the internet around the globe. And finally, work is underway to expand the scope of certain mutual recognition agreements. The TTC will continue to work on identifying potential sectors and cross-sector initiatives which have strengthened cooperation on conformity assessment, which could enhance transatlantic trade even further. These are only a few examples of what the TTC is working on, but they illustrate the importance of the basic goals of the TTC, which are to maintain and strengthen our transatlantic edge in innovation and technology, to ensure that our supply chains are resilient and that critical technology stays out of the hands of autocracies, to set the norms and standards for emerging technologies, and to impose costs on those who break international rules or seek to bend them to favor autocracies. Admittedly, we still have a very long way to go. In order to truly meet the challenges of this century, we will need to build on the foundation of the TTC to achieve ever deeper cooperation on an ever wider array of complex issues. Industrial and trade policy must evolve as a complement to trade rules and practices that recognize key economic priorities on both sides of the Atlantic. At the beginning of my remarks, I mentioned domestic industrial and technology initiatives of the Biden-Harris administration. This includes the Inflation Reduction Act, also known as the IRA. It is the single largest investment in climate and clean energy solutions in U.S. history. According to independent analysts, the IRA will be the most significant policy driver for global emissions reductions this century anywhere in the world. Many have voiced concerns about the impact of the IRA. We are having constructive conversations on this issue with our trading partners and allies about the implementation of this legislation and our common goals for clean industry. What does partnership mean? What does our alliance mean? It does not mean that we always agree on everything. But what it does mean is that when we have disagreements, we have dialogue, and dialogue that is aimed at resolving the issues between our societies. And that is what we are doing on some of the details of the IRA. And the reason we are working so hard with Germany and the EU on the issue underlying the IRA is simple. We want both the United States and Europe to have a strong, clean energy industrial base. We think that the steps that we've taken under the IRA produce opportunities for European firms and manufacturers to participate in the benefits of the IRA in ways that will further Europe's economy as well. We welcome discussion about how we can work closer together to meet our climate obligations, but also ensuring that as we do so, both sides of the Atlantic have a strong industrial base to meet the clean energy needs of the future. At home, the Biden administration has also taken a series of steps to modernize our systems for export controls, investment screening, and other tools to protect our tech innovation from theft or abuse and protect the international community from economic coercion. We are making progress in formulating an approach to address outbound investments in sensitive technologies, particularly investments that would not be captured by export controls and could enhance the technological capabilities of our competitors in the most sensitive areas. Here, too, as we do this, we are also consulting with our partners to share our expertise and learn from their experiences. We continue to safeguard our communication systems. The United States has passed legislation which outlaws the use of Chinese equipment in our government systems and has banned Huawei and ZTE from our telecommunications systems, and we encourage our partners and allies to do the same. I expect you'll touch on many of these issues during the next 2 days of this German-American Trade and Tech Conference, as well as at the Munich Security Conference later this week. At the MSC, we are co-hosting a side event as part of the Futures Forum that was launched last November in Münster by Secretary Blinken and Foreign Minister Baerbock. The idea for a Futures Forum was born at the farewell meeting between President Biden and Chancellor Merkel. The goal was to, quote, utilize the expertise and innovative power of our societies and recommend solutions to jointly shape our future, and to create a new cadre of transatlanticists. Planning is underway for next year's forum to take place in Washington. It sounds like it's going to be an absolutely incredible event. Without a doubt, the greatest resource we can leverage are the transparent democratic values that we share. Both Germany and the United States recognize the challenges we all face. We both know we can overcome more quickly and more effectively when we combine our strengths. As partners, we share the same fundamental interest in a system where people play by basic rules, where security and sovereignty are protected, and where human rights are respected. This is a fact. It's also a fact that when the United States, Germany, and the European Union focus on our differences, we make headlines. But when we work together, we make history. As we did in the past, let's do it again. Let's make history together. Thank you very much.